Hey guys, and welcome back to Leo Gaming. Yes, today is my full review on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, I've had about 5 days to play this and really get stuck in. And I must admit, I have so far thus enjoyed it, and I cannot see myself putting the controller down anytime soon. So, without further ado guys, I'm going to get straight into this review. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is an amateur simulator developed by Asobo Studios and published by Xbox Game Studios and released on the Xbox Series X and S on July 27th, 2021. Take to the skies and learn to become a budding pilot, or take a casual discovery flight for a more easy approach. This game has you covered, from the topography of the entire Earth rendered in stunning detail to the gobsmacking realistic weather. Microsoft Flight Simulator has what you need in order to release your inner plane. Jets, propellers, land, sea and air. Get ready to test your skills in the most realistic flight sim ever created. So starting off with the visuals, guys. Well, basically, it's stunning. It's like a satellite photorealistic recreation of the entire Earth using Bing Maps. So, I mean, I would normally talk about biomes, but because it's the entire Earth, it's not like limited to any biomes on this. So, obviously, you're going to have your mountains, your oceans, your deserts, your jungles, your cities. The list goes on. The entire planet, guys. So it's just everything. I mean, you could just look at that. Look at that. Oh, water. I mean, the oceans look absolutely stunning, realistic. You can see through them, like the sort of seaweed underneath, the coral reefs. Oh, it's absolutely stunning, guys. I mean, with the base game, you do get stunning detail on sort of main buildings and sort of historical sites and stuff like that. But I downloaded the UK update pack, and you get much more stunning detail. And like in London specifically, you got the sort of the Gherkin building, Canary Wharf, the Shard, Tower Bridge, Stamford Bridge, the sort of the football ground, the Chelsea football ground. It's just absolutely stunning, guys. It's so difficult to pinpoint everything. I mean, the towns and streets, like sort of outside the inner cities areas, are sort of less detailed. You're not going to get as much detail because if you go up close, you're not going to get high res textures on the sort of civilian residential streets. But they look stunning from up above. It looks visually fantastic. I mean, look at the ocean there. Even the ocean, the way the light reflects off of it, looks absolutely stunning. You can see the waves. Clouds look stunning. Even as you fly through, the rain droplets will build up on the windscreen of the plane and all the windows. The weather is by far the best I've seen. I've not flown through a hurricane yet, but in terms of thunderstorms, lightning, wind, snow, rain, it all looks absolutely stunning and so realistic. It is mind-blowing how they've actually managed to do this, to be honest, and get it on the consoles, the Xbox Series X and S consoles. The sun, the moon, they look absolutely stunning too. I mean, they also affect the whole landscape, the lighting, how it works, how the lighting goes through the clouds, and that includes the moon and the sun. You can see animals on the ground at certain points if you're low enough. The jungles look absolutely fantastic. Obviously, they've got that sort of algorithm that sort of creates from the Bing Maps, that creates trees in certain positions where it looks like there's trees. And even they just look fantastic. Even if you fly low, if you're flying over a jungle, it feels like you are flying over a jungle. And the fact that just everything visually, guys, looks fantastic. The models of the planes. I can't talk from experience. I haven't played a flight sim game since Flight Unlimited, Flight Unlimited 2 back in 98, 99. So it's been a while since I've played a flight sim, guys, because I've been waiting them to come on console. So in terms of models of the planes, I can't talk from sort of PC gamers who will have more experience, but to me they look stunning. They look visually stunning. The cockpits look how I would imagine a cockpit should look on those specific planes. And it just, everything about it, guys, just looks fantastic. The airports, one thing I haven't seen yet, which is really annoying me, when I put live traffic on, it doesn't always show everything. Like, I went to Gatwick, which is one of the busiest airports in the UK, had live traffic on, got there, and there was no traffic, there was nothing. And that was a bit annoying, because visually it feels more immersive if you've got that, the live traffic on. Anyway, that's for another category. But guys, just everything about this game is visually stunning. That's all I can say. I'm not going to go through everything on the planet. It'd just take too long. So anyway, guys, stunning, visually stunning. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Here's up for water landing.
Moving on to sound, guys. I would say the sound effects, they sound realistic enough. I mean, I've heard enough planes in my life to sort of know that that's what a plane sounds like. Whether it's correct in terms of specific to that particular plane you're flying, I don't know. But in general, for the most general people that are going to play this, it sounds realistic. The engine sounds are really good, and it sounds how I would expect from startup to cruising altitude, to when you're taking off or to when you're landing. It does sound familiar and it sounds realistic. You get a little bit of music. I must admit, the music on the Discovery tours, it really makes them dramatic. It really sort of makes the Discovery tours dramatic. It's like this boom, boom sort of music. It's pretty good. You don't get it on normal flight, but you get it on the Discovery tours. The radio chatter is realistic enough, although it can overlap sometimes. Sometimes if you have the option set to the AI radio to control the radio chatter, but then you sort of want to say something, when you do it, it sometimes overlaps. It's something you're going to have to practice, but it sort of overlaps. The voice from the tower will overlap with something you've just said, or sometimes it sort of overlaps. There is one slight annoyance with the sound, very petty, but I don't know whether you can change this in the options. I've had a look, but I can't find it. I was obviously flying from UK airports, but the voices are all American. This is nothing against American accents, by the way. It's just for immersion's sake. Obviously, all the UK airports don't have Americans working in them. So, and it's the same case with all around the planet. Every airport I took off from was all American accents. It didn't make sense. I don't understand why the accents are not, we're talking about immersion. They got everything else nailed on by the accents of the particular country you're in, which just slightly annoyed me. It was only I just picked it up as soon as I heard it. I was like, hang on, we're in the UK, why isn't it an American accent? So again, nothing against the accent, but it's just for immersion's sake, for realism, I'd rather that be a UK accent, and then when I go to America, then it's an American accent. So as far as sound, guys, that's as much as I'm going to go on with the sound. So moving on to mechanics, guys. Right, there's quite a bit to get through on this one. I'm going to start off with the main menu. So on the main menu, you will have discovery flights. Now, these are predetermined areas in which you will automatically start in the air with any plane. You'll already be flying, and you'll have all the points of interest, say sort of like the pyramids in Egypt, and all different points of interest around a specific famous location or famous area. And it's completely up to you which one you want to go fly to first, and you basically could just free fly around the area. And this is the discovery flights are basically the ones where I was talking about the dramatic music. So you'll have some dramatic music in the background, and that will sort of just, it keeps you motivated, doesn't it? It sort of tries to, as you're flying past the pyramids with that dramatic music. Next, you have challenges. Now, in the challenges section, you've got the landing challenges and you've got the bush flights. The landing challenges are the most difficult airports in the world to land. Be that on, say, a mountainside or having strong winds, difficult locations and difficult weather. These are really good. So once it gives you that opportunity just to test to see where you are in terms of how good you are at the game. And they're just a bit of fun as well. There's a leaderboard, so you can go straight onto the leaderboard. And it's just a bit of fun to try and attempt to land in these sort of situations and experience what real pilots will experience at these locations in terms of trying to land it. The bush flights I find these fun. These are basically good ways to explore a certain area. But you don't have the sat nav where it gives you your pinpoint. Basically, you get like a VFR map, which is like a satellite GPS map, but your location's not on it. You get the line, and all you get is a description at each stage of what you've got to look out for and where you've got to fly to, which is really good. I like these ones. I actually enjoy it because it makes you feel like you're having a more of a natural flight around a sort of open landscape. And you've basically got to read the description. It might say something like, look southeast and you will see two mountainsides, fly between the two mountainsides, and down below you will find a motorway. Follow that motorway going approximately east until you come to this, and then it'll move on to stage 2. And it's quite good. I really like that. There's about 3 of them when you on the base game, and it's quite good. I like them. I think they're really good actually to sort of hone your skills on sort of visual landscape and flying like that. And then you get the flight training on the main menu. This is into 4 sections. You get the basic flights. You get what's the next one? There is another one. I can't remember what it's called. Basically, you get 4 different sections. You progress through it, and eventually you end up. It is a bit, to be honest, the flight training is not quite what I thought it was. I thought it'd be a bit more in depth. I was hoping for more training in terms of, if anyone's ever played Flight Unlimited 3, you'll know what I mean. Basically, there used to be like the flight training was really in depth, and you get pre videos to show you how it's done. Then you go and do it. This was quite basic. It's very quick. Each lesson's about 4. The highest lesson you could have is about 7 minutes. So it's not that in depth, to be honest. I was hoping for more in depth training to a specific aircraft. And each plane would have a specific training module, but you don't get that, unfortunately. But it's good for you, and you end up, the last bit of training is to fly an airliner, and there's literally only 2 lessons. I was expecting it to show you what all the buttons do, how you do this, how you do that, but it doesn't. And so I was a little bit disappointed with the flight training. It was good for the basics, but then I was hoping for some more depth to it. Also on the main menu, you get the world map. The world map is basically the world in a sort of 3D view, and it shows you all the points of interest, every single airport. You can zoom in, and it is literally like looking at Bing Maps. Zoom in any location on the planet. If you've got live time and weather, it will also show you the dark side of the planet where it's nighttime, and it'll show you the light side of the planet where it's daytime, and it'll show you the live weather, so where the clouds are. And when you look at the planet, you see the clouds moving live. It is really, really good, and you can literally zoom right in to the point where you can see the buildings, not in 3D on this map, but you can see them sort of flat, like, you know, the photo images that you get on the internet. From here, you can select the airport you want to depart from, and then select the airport you want to land at, and you can also select the aircraft from this world map. What other things can you do? You can also, like I said, already set the live time and location. That's on the top right hand side of the screen, top right hand corner of the screen, sorry. You set time. You can do custom weather if you want. You don't have to have live time and weather. You can have live traffic or AI traffic or no traffic, and you can also change whether you want live multiplayer on that particular flight. And there's quite a bit you could do from this world map, and it is very, very good. So yeah, that's the world map. Then you get the options menu. In the options menu, there's a hell of a lot you can change. You can change your assistant options as to whether you want assist on the radio, assist on starting up the plane, assist on the actual flying, assist on, you know, anything really. You can change your controller settings, what buttons do what, the sensitivity of the analog sticks, the rudder triggers, so the RT and LT. And you could change the camera angles. There's so many options, guys. I can't run through them all, but there are so many options to customize your experience within this game. You also have the marketplace. The marketplace is where you can sort of look up content, user created content. So You get modders basically who would create their own aircraft, and they'll sell it on there. And the confusion, guys, there's a lot of people who obviously aren't used to simulators that are assuming that they're ripping you off. It's not the developers. These are basically people like me or you modding the game. They're creating their own custom and they're selling it and they're getting the money, not the developers, the actual modders. So if it seems a bit pricey, that's why. It's because it is modders. So it's not them trying to rip you off. This is just, you know, people at home creating these, which I think is a brilliant idea. I think that's a better idea because it then allows for more creation within the game. You don't have to keep asking the developers to create it. So yeah, and they'll custom create airports, planes, scenery, anything you can think of. You have the custom creators. So that is the marketplace, guys. And also that is where the developers do put their world updates on as well. You do get various aircraft within the game. You get certain airliners, the 747, you get twin prop engines, single prop engines, and you can customize these with various liveries. That's paint jobs for anybody who doesn't know what that word is. You can also make your own airplane ID number, as well as other things. So I haven't actually done that yet, but I do know you can make an ID number and other things you can customize about the aircraft. Most of the aircraft have full functionality in most planes in terms of the startup, etc. in the cockpit with all the buttons, and not every button is functional, but most are in terms of what that aircraft can do. You could talk on the radio to ground, tower, etc. You can request baggage and food for the airliners, and you actually visually see all that happen. You can change your views, you know, external, cockpit and showcase. There's plenty you can do with the plane. Obviously, fly it up, down, left, right, round and round, upside down, however you want to do it, guys. And that's pretty much most of the mechanics. There will definitely be bits I've missed, so don't expect that every single thing to be covered, otherwise I'll be on it for hours. So yes, guys, that is the end of the mechanics. So moving on to gameplay, guys. Now, I would imagine these are realistic flight controls. It does feel real. Well, I mean, when I say it feels real, obviously I can't really tell, but it looks real in terms of when you fly, the movements of the plane look realistic. And I didn't realise how little input is needed actually on the analog sticks to move the aircraft. I've heard a few people say that you don't need much input. They're quite sensitive, so it was actually quite good to learn that. Like I said before, the realistic movements of the planes in terms of to the turbulence, the rain, the high winds, the different wind shears and everything, the way the plane moves, especially on the airliners, how the wings sort of wobble a bit like they do in real life. It's such a good effect. I love it. There are a few negatives. The autopilot can sometimes be a bit janky. It's a little bit hit and miss with the autopilot. It doesn't quite follow the instructions of the what the radio's telling them, so you kind of have to take over sometimes. The only times I use autopilot is when I'm doing the sort of flick over to the mouse bit where you get the little circular bit on the screen to adjust something. Again, and another negative is the live traffic. It don't seem to be working properly for me. I don't know whether that's anything to do. I don't know if anyone else is having that problem. If you could let me know, that would be great. Also, I know the whole point of this game is for this, but the sole reliance on an internet connection just to have the decent visuals. Now, I know that is the game, but you know, it's just I do know it sort of collects a data cache where it basically saves all the decent. So it gets better the more you fly around a certain area. So you know, that's just one thing. They're just petty things, really, but you know. And apart from that, guys, the game is fantastic to play. If you don't like simulations, just the fact that you can go and fly over your house, it's worth picking this game up. In my eyes, it is so fun. I've had lots of fun with it, guys. I mean, I'm going to properly get into it, you know, the further I get in, because I want to try and establish actually how you sort of fly the planes properly with all the buttons and stuff like that. So I want to try and get a joystick in the future, all the proper setup. But yeah, guys, that is my review for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 on the Xbox Series X. So guys, if you enjoy my content, Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, make sure you check out my top 10 Xbox Series X games lists in 2021. There's 2 parts to it, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 will be coming up on your screens right now. So guys, I'm going to leave you with a 10-second snippet and just admire this beautiful view, beautiful graphics and beautiful game. Guys, hope you enjoy the rest of your days or weeks. Love you all. Goodbye.